times, and baby I'm fine. I just need to hide, 'cause I've got a lot to learn, and most of the time it hurts.
No, I see myself as pretty lucky. Most of my friends are like, Caesar, you got a black cloud on your head, or, some nonsense like that. But, I see myself as lucky, really lucky. So here's the deal. I'm here at Oakton, and I probably shouldn't be. Most of my friends are messed up or worse, and my family's sort of in the same boat. And, someone like me coming from where I'm from, it's a miracle. Or maybe not a miracle, but, lucky as hell, that's for sure. My brother, Jason, was killed when I was 13. He was only 8, man. He was in the car with my dad, and a car crashed into him. He was obliterated. I was in the back seat. And my dad, he kind of lost it after that. He done pretty good keeping his shit together after some horrible garbage, but that thing with Jay, when that went down, it was that, how do they say, the straw that broke the pony's back? My dad was a laborer, and, he worked odd jobs in construction to get by, and when that thing with Jay went down, he just got into the bottle real bad. Now, I'd find him in the kitchen, just wasted in his underwear or less, with a big old bottle of something next to him, or a big old empty bottle of something next to him. And my mom would try to wake him, but, it wouldn't do any good. And one of the worst times was when she was just crying next to him, and I thought it was because he was dead. But, it turns out she had just thought that he had given up on us, given up on her. When I got to high school, things got crazy worse. My dad went off with these drunks, and my mom worked 3 jobs to, make ends meet. She was a waitress at 2 places and a janitor at night, and just kind of left me and my sister Juliet at that point. No room for a parental figure. My friend Paul, he died of cancer when he was 14. And, I thought the whole time, what could take him away at that point? And, he just looked so old when he died. My best friend, Charles, from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, we kind of drifted apart, and I blame myself for when he killed himself. He took too many beatings from his old man and used a gun to, blow his head off. Who else? Ray got hooked on the Big H, and he just dropped off the map. My cousin said that, he was doing guys in Pilsen for a fix. My ex, Judy, said she got out just at the right time. But, I went to visit her at NIU, and she said, she's just going to smoke pot all day and listen to classical rock, and she plans to fail out. Yeah, plans to fail out. Just live in the sticks between DeKalb and Rockford somewhere with some assholes. And my dad, he can't really work anymore. And my mom kicked him out. And I haven't seen him for over a year now. So here I am at Oakton, still alive and still kicking. Now, I'm getting really involved. I got a job at the art lab. I like using those waxy pencils and, whatever. And, some of the teachers here are really laid back. And some of the people here, they really care about the students. And they really listen to us. They may not say much, but it's like their minds are just trying to intake everything that you're telling them. But, it's the listening part that's really important. And I wonder how my friends' lives would have been if someone had just taken the time to listen to them. And I didn't have a plan before I got here. But, the teachers made such a difference with me that I thought I wanted to do the same thing too. Black cloud my ass. I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
I've kind of had a rough time of it getting here, and I've kind of wanted to avoid most of my life. My mom used to have a lot of strokes. The first time we thought it was some kind of seizure, and then afterwards found out it was a whole lot of strokes we didn't know about. And because of the strokes, we had to live with my grandparents because she couldn't hold on to a job and she couldn't earn enough money to own a place on her own. And this might not sound so bad, but my uncle Ted is a convicted child molester, and when he got out of prison, he moved in with my grandparents too. And we used to be close, but since moving in, my grandparents ignore me and I try and ignore my uncle. I live in the basement with no heat, and it gets so cold that my hair is frozen sometimes when I wake up. It hurts me because it feels like they're ignoring my needs for the needs of Ted. I'm so angry at them for this. I can't have internet access. I can't have friends over. I can't even have my computer in my house because of his sex offender status. That's a terrible situation for school because I can't do my homework at home, and I have to go to my friend's house or my dad's house in Algonquin to type a simple paper. Do you know how far away Algonquin is at 11 p.m. after a 14-hour day? It might as well be China. My worst day at Oakton was when I found out I was failing my Comp 2 class because I couldn't get my research and my paper writing done because I couldn't do my work at home. Despite the fact, I told my teacher, and she said that there were computers on campus. Of course. I needed to do homework after 11 p.m. when the school closes because of my jobs. I do work about 50 hours a week between my student employment and a local restaurant, and I use that for tuition and books and stuff at Oakton. I'm trying to save a little too. I wanted to go to college even when I was a little girl and try to save up because of the money situation my family has. And I knew I wanted to go to Oakton to get my associates, and then university would be cheaper. And it's been pretty good for me, really good in some cases. One of my professors helped me come out about something that happened to me when I was younger, and it helped me improve myself and how I feel about my place in the world. My human sexuality teacher saw that I was going through some stuff in class and offered some exercises and sent me to a group to help me handle what I was going through. This was something I needed even before I knew I needed it. Someone to, just kind of listen to me. I can talk about it now, but before I couldn't, and that's a huge first step. My other uncle, Matt, molested me. When I was younger, I thought it was okay because he was a father figure to me and I didn't know what was right or wrong. And when I got older, I stood up to him. I told him no. But, even now, I still get so angry when I see him, and I get horrible flashbacks when I'm with guys. Today, I can kind of say this wrecked my life up until now, and my professors and my friends and my life here are slowly turning that around. I've kind of started to let all that go, and up until I took that class and spoke to my teacher, I couldn't talk about it. I don't know where I would be without him reaching out to me and helping me sort it all through in my head. I didn't know about these teacher counselors, and they should absolutely put the word out about these people. That being said, I can't believe how much I've gotten out of my last 2 years, and I can't imagine where I'm going to go from here.
My last year in high school was rough. During the winter, my boyfriend was hit by a car. You probably heard about it. He played basketball and was really good, a star student and all that business. But what you might not have known, that he was a bad guy sometimes and did some creepy things to everyone he cared about, everyone but me. We never fought, even when we had bad days. We always had such a nice thing together, inseparable and lovely. It made me feel so special, and for time, that he was the most important thing I knew, and I was the same to him. No matter how bad he got, or things got, we never exchanged a vicious word, or even a cold glance. Even when I start to be angry with him, I just look in his eyes, really look, and I saw this white heat like the most beautiful thing in the world. And I couldn't feel anything but love. The slightest tinge of cold was burned away every time when he looked at me. And I knew this is how he felt too. When he got hit on the road, I saw it all happen. Everything changed. For the first few months, he didn't know who he was. After things started coming back, he still wasn't whole. He couldn't eat or dress or go to the bathroom by himself, and the special things, the bedroom things, were in this weird place that I worried might never come back. It was surreal. He was there, always there, but he wasn't there. It was like we would broken up, but I didn't hate him, and I couldn't let him go. I wanted to throw up every time when I saw him, because no matter how hard I looked into his eyes, they were cold. The heat, the beauty, the love for me was gone, and I knew there was no one to blame. We would go outside after class just to walk and find some place of normalcy. I had so many feelings inside of me and couldn't do anything about it. It was like we would broken up, but I didn't hate him, and I couldn't let him go. And our friends, his and mine, they were too afraid of him. Some of them thought that he was too delicate. A lot of people just didn't know how to relate to him. And a few people thought that he was faking and didn't want to fall for one of his tricks again. It hurt me to even look at him. I made him mixes and gave him little doodles and wrote him notes, but he never responded. He told me he likes getting these little things, but he never said how the poetry was beautiful or he loved the pictures. There is a difference between loving something and loving getting something. I knew how he felt, and I didn't question how I felt. But it was a blank wall, and he couldn't climb over it, and I couldn't get through. By the end of the summer, it was done. Teddy. I hate saying his name. He has gone to college a little slower and a little nicer, and the college even offered to pay for the first year of school as a scholarship, even though he could never play again. Over the summer after graduation, I went to his house to see him off, and his mom said that he must have forgot because he had left the night before. Not a word, not a note, not a kiss goodbye, just an uncomfortable mom who didn't know what to do. The last thing I said for almost 16 months was when I told my mom I was not going to college. I had been accepted at RISD, Rhode Island School of Design, but just couldn't do it. For the first few months, I had my headphone on, listening music loud enough to block out the world, block out everyone I knew, even to block out my own thoughts. I was so mad and afraid that even if I say something simple like asking for a salt, my rage would pour out and destroy everything. After the semester at home, my mom enrolled me for online classes at Oakton. She would talk to me, but I never responded. No, not a word, not anything. And she told me, Jules, I enrolled you for online classes at Oakton. You don't have to go anywhere, and you don't have to talk to anybody. You just need to get up and plug in. I didn't answer her, of course, but that the first day of semester, I got up, I put my clothes on, and I look on. At the end of the semester, I got 2 A's and 1 B, and I thought I would venture out into the world. Over the summer, my mom registered me for one more class, photography. I took pictures and I thought about the world, and I realized that the earth kept moving. And as much as I didn't want to move with it, I couldn't keep it up. Shortly after summer, I saw 3 kids go skiing across the highway in Jeep Wrangler. It flipped over, and the one who wasn't wearing a seatbelt got pinned against the pavement and skinned alive. Seriously, skinned alive. It was too much to handle, and I broke up the second time I walked through the door. For the first few days, my mom held me while I cried and told her everything how I felt, thought, and wrestled with for the last year and a half. That fall semester, I enrolled full-time. But it was tough because many kids knew me as the girl who didn't talk. But the few friends I had were really supportive. They got me out to the park, then to the mall, then even to the parties. And one morning, my painting professor told me that I should talk to someone from counseling office. And in a week, I met with Linda Zimmerman. And to this day, I think she saved my life. She talked to me at first simply, beautifully, and perfectly. She helped me to open up and sort out how I felt about things, and got me moving towards real things. I was going to live a life, and he was not going to be in it. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't impossible. It just was different. My time here got me of a bad place, a hole that I didn't know how to climb out of. I could release my anger and my loss and my sadness. It was the only way it could end happily. All the bad feelings went away, and that's all I felt was love, love, and nothing else.
So, I'm kind of the class clown. My teachers say they hate it, but you know they love it. It kind of spices things up for the other students and keeps everyone focused on what's going on. Okay, well, maybe not that last part, but it totally spices things up. I came to Oakton because a bunch of my friends were coming here. I didn't know much about it except that it was pretty close to my aunt's house where I was staying. I never knew too much about college or Oakton, but about a week before I got done with high school, my auntie came into my room and said, "Martin, you've got to get into school or get a job." I felt it might have been easier if she had actually told me this a little earlier, so I could have actually, applied for college and whatnot. But the RHC was less than a mile from where my aunt lived. I applied and got in after some placement testing and paperwork. Pretty standard stuff in this lawyer-filled country or whatever. When I got to Oakton, I kind of freaked out. I knew some folks and kicked it with them by the stairs, but they weren't really in any of my classes. Clearly, some better planning and coordination could have kind of alleviated the situation, but there I was nonetheless. So I sort of relied on my clowning to kind of get me through. I got to meet girls and talk to them, and that was pretty smooth. I kind of did poorly on my first round of tests, and a teacher pulled me aside in the hallway. Mr. Tasso told me he thought I was super smart, but unfocused and scared of being myself. At first I was kind of pissed, but then I realized that not only did this guy know my name, shocker, but he also got me. you know, the real me. He helped me get my act together and sort of focus on school. We would talk a lot before class. He used the classroom as an office before and then had to run to another school after. And he really kind of helped me be myself. If you asked me what I expected to get out of Oakton, I probably wouldn't have known and made some kind of funny joke. What I didn't expect is that I would grow up, start to be a man. I didn't expect to find myself and discover that the whole funny thing is cool and smart, but it's not what I have to do all the time just so people don't learn how messed up my mom is, you know, how messed up my life is. Oakton gave me definition and understanding of the world, but mostly, and most importantly, understanding of myself.
I hate my house. I've never lived anywhere else. One summer, I got to stay with my aunt and uncle in Wisconsin somewhere. My uncle told me this story about when he was in the Vietnam War. He told me that they were walking through the forest and everything blew up. Bullets and metal and meat flying everywhere. He couldn't tell which way was up. He told me how scared he was for like 5 minutes. He was covered in blood and dirt and didn't even know if it was his own. He said he dropped to his knees because of all of the bullets and because he couldn't do anything else. And he started to dig himself deeper into the dirt, away from the fighting and away from the world. He told me how scared he was for like 5 minutes. He was covered in blood and dirt and didn't even know if it was his own. He said he dropped to his knees because of all of the bullets and because he couldn't do anything else. He started to dig himself deeper into the earth, away from the bullets and away from the world. He said he could hear horrible noises and screams and explosions, but his eyes and ears and nose were bleeding so bad that he didn't know where it was coming from. Like overloading senses that couldn't just stop and breathe. Stop and breathe for just a second and remember he was human. He told me how panicked he was for 5 minutes that seemed to go on and on forever. He told me how the sand tasted mixed with blood and dirt and fire. It seemed to go on forever, an eternity of not knowing whether you're alive. Those 5 minutes are what the last 20 years of my life have been in my house. I hate my house. It's full of blood and dirt and pain, broken. My sister and I are just two of those things. We've seen so much. We've been forced to do so many terrible things. Things I can't tell you. Things I can't force myself not to remember. By the middle of my sophomore year, I had sort of lost connection with school. I just wanted out of my life, my house. By the middle of my sophomore year, I had sort of lost connection with school. My teachers would give me tests and homework and little notes of encouragement, but I never felt like doing any of them. I just wanted to get away from my home, that sandy, bloody, empty hole. So I did whatever I could to get away from that. I started ditching classes here and there and little horrible things that seemed so peaceful compared to the rest of my life. I was a bad daughter, but more than that, I was a bad sister. I was leaving her to do it all alone. Leaving her to sink into that empty, bloody hole. I dropped out of classes, and I even thought about going to night school at Maine South. And I thought about waiting till I was 18 to get my GED. I couldn't find momentum. I was stuck. In 2008, I went to the Rosemont Theater to watch some of my friends graduate. These were friends that I had grown up with. going to college and finishing that part of their lives, the part that I was still stuck in. I remember sitting a few feet from my best friend I had known since first grade. She was so happy to be graduating. I cried silently at first, then wept all over my blue and white dress as I watched her walk across that stage. I decided right then and there in that theater to change. Within a week, I was enrolled in a special high school in Palatine that let me take more than double the normal credits it took to graduate. And after a year of fighting, tooth and nail, fighting my home, fighting my mom and my desire to quit, I graduated only a year late. It was about this time that I decided to stop worrying. I decided to make a change. My life was just so, my house was broken. Any communication with my mom was just screaming. I decided to stop worrying and stop crying because there was nothing I could do. If I couldn't make the decision to just change it. I was so upset with how much I hated my life. It pains me to know how much I hated myself because I couldn't just get up and make the decision to change it. And then I thought about my sister, my beautiful, wonderful sister. She needed me now more than ever because of who our mom was. I couldn't change the fact of how our mom treated us and how she talked to us. And I couldn't change the fact that I couldn't change the past. If you're so unhappy with yourself, you can't just sit there and sob about how unhappy you are. You have to grab a hold and make the change. You have to fight. I like the way that we're in our own little forest here. The campus is so nice here. I feel that Oakton is the best place for my future because I'm not wasting a bunch of money and I get to discover history myself. When I graduate, I want to join the Peace Corps and really help people. I feel like there's so many people on this planet and we're all so different. I want to see it. I want to travel the world. I can't imagine just staying in the same place forever. I still live in that house, but Oakton is helping me find the door and the keys to get out.
I got to Oakton from the far north. No, not Milwaukee, man. Alaska, the far north. I had some family living down here, and I figured with a change of pace and some blood to look out for me, I might be able to get ahead. 'Cause I saw that bus, man. It said, start here and go anywhere. And I thought it was a sign. But I didn't really start it at Oakton, and that's a different story. But I was starting new at Oakton. I definitely wanted to go somewhere else. And my head was all messed up. Like nightmares and jumpiness and all that jazz, reckon even a little cat nap if I had some time to try and catch one. My friends up there thought I was crazy. Couldn't figure out how I was going to get my head on straight in Chicago if I couldn't get it straight in the forest. But I figured, being in a place where I couldn't hear myself think was just about right to get my head straight. But I didn't tell those sons of bitches that. Because they were my brothers, my army buddies. And I didn't tell them much of anything, to be honest. That was probably the problem back then, but I was too dumb to think about those types of things. Because I was reckless with my body and reckless with my heart and knew I needed to find something different. So I came out here to live with some family I'd only met a couple times. Now, just being on that plane made me feel all anxious. Felt like I was flying forever, like I was going to the Iraq. Be honest, the flight home was a whole lot longer and a whole lot more stressful. I was one of those guys who found munitions, the small ones, not the WMDs, and put them in a big pile and blew them up. explosives, guns, missiles, all kinds of shit, and put them in a big old pile and blew them up. Then we went to the next bunker and did the same damn thing for 2 years and change. And I'll tell you what, those Iraqis didn't like you busting up their shit. Brutal, man. So anyway, when I got back, everything seemed kind of weird. Like everything was happening on the side of my head and nothing was in front of me. Nothing was real clear. And this kind of took away my sense of humanity, and quite frankly, I started acting like a dick. Got into some bar fights, stole some things, knocked a girl up, and basically ended up acting like someone I didn't want to be. Anyway, I got to Des Plaines and it was crazy, man. About the only thing it had in common with Alaska was the train tracks. I was looking for work when I saw that bus. You know, start here and blah, blah, blah. You know, not to sound all ladylike, but it spoke to me. So I came to Oakton and checked it out. The folks in admissions helped me out, and some other people helped me out with my war money. That's what my buddies back home call it, that GI Bill stuff. Now, I thought I was some type of warrior badass in both the Iraq and Alaska, but man, that first day at Oakton made me feel like the littlest son of a bitch ever. I didn't know where to go or how to act. I didn't know when to eat or if I could piss without raising my hand. I gotta say though, everyone made me feel right at home, and you know, by the end of the first week, I kind of fit right in. I got a job in the receiving department and started meeting people, girls, right off. Now, you guys got the most beautiful women here. Anywho, everyone was real sweet. I felt like I was making friends and even met some other people that was in the Iraq or Afghanistan. And this was kind of special to me because, you know, these guys knew what I knew but didn't know me. They were easier to talk to and, you know, they made me feel right at home. It was funny because of how different my friends were. Young guys, old guys, black guys, white guys, and lots of beautiful girls. This one day, this kid who worked in the dock too came in real messed up. I didn't know what was going on, but I knew something was up. I tried to ask him what was going on, but he just went off. Wayne, leave me alone, you bastard, or blah, 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 or some crap. So I just kind of backed off. Come about 2:30, we're about to knock off after a big old delivery to the second floor, and you know, we're in the elevator, and I could just see him exploding inside. I probably wouldn't have noticed if it wasn't for my particular experience with explosions, so I asked him, hey man, you sure you're all right? And then he just balls up in the corner and starts crying. Like a little kid, and then I find myself holding him in my arms and comforting him and rubbing his hair, telling him, it's gonna be all right, man. It's gonna be all right. Now, this was kind of important to me because I hadn't really had any human connection in quite some time. But there I was, holding this kid in my arms and comforting him. And that damn elevator door would open up and people would see what was going on and just stare. And the elevator door would close and we'd go up a floor or down 2 floors and the same damn thing. Probably messed up a whole lot of people that day. Awesome, man. Now, I don't know how this is going to sit in with all of y'all, but I'm going to tell you what it showed me. It showed me, or as my teachers would say, it illustrated just how a place like this can change a guy like me in such a short time. Because I was broken, like broken. And I didn't know what to do with my broke-ass self, let alone how to fix it. But this place really let me open up my heart and let me be myself and let me help that kid and let me help myself. And I can't tell you what that means to me. So I'm just about out of here. The old Hellraiser's moving on, and I'm transferring to the University of Chicago for poli-sci. I mean, me? Going to the University of Chicago? Man, that's so crazy I can't even tell you. My buddies up north don't know what that means, but you know, I do. And I hope y'all do too. Because it means that maybe I won't always be broken, and it means that there's something here in the wind that you can't really touch. It means that damn bus was right. It means the world.
That's how it goes when you get old. You know too much, it hurts your soul.